The future of print on demand has never been more uncertain thanks to AI becoming more and more powerful. And like a lot of industries, fortunately, there are things that we can do to prepare ourselves now. So whether if you are just a beginner print on demand seller or if you are well established and already taking sales, in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you simple yet really effective ways that we are able to leverage AI to future-proof our print-on-demand business. And the things that we're going to be covering is, first off, where we currently are. So in this overall timeline of things that's going to happen, like where do we currently stand and where can we reasonably expect things to be going? Now, obviously with AI, like for every industry, it's impossible to predict with 100% accuracy, but we can make some very educated guesses based off of what has already happened. Second, we're going to be talking about how we can use AI with our design process. Third, we're going to be talking about AI in our advertising workflows. Then fourth, we're going to talk about marketplaces versus brands. Who stands the best chance with all of these upcoming changes that AI is undoubtedly going to be introducing into the business model. And then finally, we're going to be sharing how our team is personally preparing under the hood of our seven-figure brand. And if this is your first time ever visiting the channel, first off, welcome. My name is Chris Ekman. My wife and I have a combined 12 plus years of experience. Done over $25 million in sales, had a couple of exits selling print-on-demand brands. We do everything through Shopify, but we have experience with all different marketplaces. And this channel is where we share what's currently working the best for us, as well as for all of our students inside of WeScale University. And jumping right into things, where we currently stand, where things are, is by and large, and this is my favorite chart to use. Everybody in the community jokes about it, but it's a great chart. It's beautiful. It's got a great line to it. Anyway, the print-on-demand market, like the opportunity, has never been better. And I've talked about this in lots of other videos. That's not the point of this one. But basically, we are currently here in terms of print-on-demand opportunity. And if we just look at where things are going, it's good. It's very good. But so we already knew that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have a whole channel dedicated to the idea and wouldn't have my own brand and wouldn't be teaching it. But a way more valuable exercise is, aside from knowing that print on demand over the next 8 years is going to be compounding about 27%. In different estimates, I've seen it range from like 23.5 up to 27.8, but in that ballpark. But most helpful exercise for us to do here is breaking down print on demand into its main components. Because just like every business, AI doesn't fundamentally change what makes the business work. It just simply makes our lives easier, either through reducing the amount of effort required or increasing the quality. So an example of this is with print on demand, and this is how you can see through the fog of all the AI craziness out there, is just break it down into a business and like we talked about in our like AI training video about basically reframing the way we use AI. AI is not a tool. Think of it instead as like your super helpful, happy-go-lucky coworker who's online 24/7, and there's a billion of them. That's AI essentially. So reframing it that way, when we think about our products, introducing AI, just think of it as if we just hired a designer onto our team. How can they improve our product process? Then for advertising, we still need to get people to know about our brand. Well, introducing AI into this is we just hire a marketer or like an ad creative specialist. Then for customer service, we still need to be, supporting customers and answering their questions. AI doesn't change any of that until, everybody has their own personal AI, and then our AIs are talking to each other, and then emails becomes a thing of the past, and it just AI's interfacing in the cloud, but we'll see where things go. For now, think of it as you're just hiring a customer service rep, or the way we like to think of it is like a coach for customer service rep, because we still have customer service team members and they just use AI to improve their workflows. And then finally is fulfillment. And this is the one place that as of right now, there are nothing on the horizon that is going to fundamentally change this. This is outside the scope of this video, but this is really something that, we'll leave that to the Printifies and the Printfuls of the world to figure out how they want to leverage AI. But these categories are the ones that AI is really primed to have a big impact on. Let's take a look at what that looks like in the product creation process. And for anybody who's doing print on demand, obviously, there's a wide variety of product types, everything from apparel to home decor to you name it, they have it. And our job as the business owners is to come up with really creative, unique designs that go on those products. This can be typography, it can be, retro sunset style, vintage, it can a whole number of things. And this process for creating these designs, the way that it used to look This is a helpful way to like identify the workflow and then see where AI can interject or like eliminate a step. So the old workflow used to be, in order to come up with, and this is exactly what we did on Yoga Stay, for example. In order to come up with the 100 designs that we launched with on Yoga Stay, we first had to do a whole bunch of research, understand like who yogis are, what do yogis want. Then we had to come up with the ideas from that research. And then we had to describe those ideas to a designer using a ticket management software like Trello. Basically just big board with a bunch of ideas. And then you have like these columns. And then when a designer starts working on it, you just pick it up, move it like that. And then this is your backlog here, that kind of thing. I don't know why I just explained Trello, because most people have probably seen it. But in case you haven't, there you go. Next, the designer makes their first draft of that design. So far, timeline-wise, we're talking about at least a handful of hours on research, and this is ongoing, but I would say at least a handful of hours for initial research. Then we come up with the idea, then we describe it to the designer, then they make their first draft. Obviously, very subjective, depends on the designer, but this in total is at least 5 to 7 days from my experience. And this is going back a couple of years. But this process alone was 5 to 7 days. Then we get to review it, and then we provide feedback and tell them how we would like them to improve it. The designer then makes draft 2, and this can just repeat on and on and on until, I shouldn't just say on and on. Normally, like, I would say 3 to 4 is the upper bound. Sometimes they get it on the first shot, but anyway, then we finally approve it. Then the designer has to do the prep phase. So they're prepping, prep, there we go. That says prep, don't worry about it. Remove the background and apply that design to your mockups. And then the owner uploads the design. So this is the old workflow. And now with AI, we still have the research process. AI can help with this a little bit, but it's still not great. It can help with the idea process, but now we take both of these and we're just injecting it as a prompt into an AI tool. Or you can use a tool like the one that we've developed specifically for print-on-demand sellers called Mystic POD that is designed so you don't have to know how to prompt. You don't have to be an engineering wizard or anything like that. I'm certainly far from that. That's why I built it. It's basically the tool that I wanted all these years, that you can just take your ideas, your research, however you think about it, however you would describe it to your friend or family member. That's how you can tell it to Mystic. It does its best to understand that because it knows you want a best-selling t-shirt design or whatever product type you've selected. But anyway, then like on any AI tool, you then have normally some light edits on the outputs. And this whole timeline here, the research and the idea is still roughly the same. But then this iterative process where we're normally going back and forth and sending Slack messages or comments on a Trello board or something, this timeline is compressed down to minutes, like 15 to 30 minutes. And then we apply it to a mockup. So we've already gone from this whole, and this is just in the matter of like the last year or so, gone from this whole workflow down to this. And then in the future, it's truly just a matter of time before this continues to compress because there is absolutely nothing in here that AI is not capable of. And even though like it's capable of ideas and research right now and it's not great, today is the worst that AI is ever going to be. And so we can safely assume that the future, this is where it's heading. And then the question is just, what do we do today to prepare for that? So, and also if you want to download this board completely for free, you can head over to our free school community and it's in the classroom section for you to peruse at your own leisure. So the way that we're using AI to create products, we're going to talk about in a second. But next, I'm going to talk about AI using it for advertising because there's a lot of like bells and whistles and catchy things out there like video AI and stuff. In my opinion, it's not really there yet. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's downright incredible. But in terms of things that are tangible and things that I would immediately implement into our workflow, and we have, the static ads are the ones that, like just image ads are the ones that we're going with so far. And to give an example, these ad creatives are from Yoga Stay. These are several years old at this point. But when we made these, one, I was very proud of them, even though I didn't make them. I just worked with a designer. I gave some feedback. I was really crucial in the process. But anyway, we came up with these ad creatives and we went back and forth. Obviously, again, all manual. It was the same Trello board type setup. For these, plus there was like 30 iterations. Took us about 2 weeks. 2 weeks and about $1,500 in designer fees. And now with just using GPT or using Mystic, we're able to recreate pretty much the exact same ad. Like this is an example of the prompt that I gave it. I uploaded our old ad and I said, I want you to make a Facebook ad using this style, but with the Tree of Life product you just made. And so you just can't see it. But back up here in the conversation, I show it a different product. And then this was the output. This is exactly what it looks like. It messes up the logos a little bit, but still, it's truly incredible, like what it came up with. And I have a couple of more examples here. So I gave it another mock-up. I gave it the one that it came up with here. And then from that output, I just simply said, now I want you to make a similar ad creative, but this time with Heather Purple shirt of this design and text that says 1,000 plus 5-star reviews. And that's how we came up with this. And that's from one single prompt. Now, I'll be honest, like I prompted it a couple different ways and it messed up, but the prompts that work the best are normally the simplest. Then here's another prompt that works really well. You're an expert product designer that can create a product mockups that are beautiful and that would sell well in a retail store. I need you to design my lifestyle product mockups for a t-shirt for our yoga apparel brand using the attached design file. There's the design file. And then there it is on the shirt. Now, if you look really closely, like look at the branches here, for example, you can tell that it didn't get it exactly. Like if you look at the roots, those are slightly off, but by and large, very, very close. And it's also close enough that I would be comfortable using it in an ad. And so we've recreated those top quality ad creatives that used to take weeks and weeks and, $1,000+ in designer fees. We can now make those with a single prompt. And so combining these two things that we know to be true is like products are just, or not, we don't know to be true, that we can reasonably assume. This is all subjective, obviously. We'll wait and see what actually happens. Anybody who claims to know exactly where AI is going to go is just delusional. So now we have the two reasonable assumptions, in my opinion, that barrier to entry for creating new best-selling designs or high-quality designs, we can call it, is going to continue to lower. And it's going to get to a point where basically anybody is able to launch really high-quality designs very cost-effectively. Then on the flip side, we have advertising is going to continue to get easier and easier. Meta actually just made a release saying that their goal is that by 2026, they are fully automating the ad process. Now, if it's 2026 or 2028, who knows? But the point is, their goal, Meta, the trillion-dollar company, I think they're past that now, trillion-dollar company is channeling, like 97% of the revenue comes from advertising. So they are heavily incentivized to, iterate on and innovate, rather, on their advertising product. So they're trying to make that simpler and simpler. The reason I highlight those 2 points is that the ability for new designs to be made, like getting easier and easier, means that Etsy is going to become extremely flooded. Any marketplace where you're comparing side by side with other people, you are going to be like extremely crowded. So that then leads us to, well, what about starting your own brand, your own standalone store? Well, there, the biggest aversion to starting it is, aside from needing to learn like Shopify, for example, is you need to learn how to run ads, and that ads are expensive. Well, that's also going away, and it's only going to be a matter of time. Now, again, I'm not saying this is going to be next month, 6 months, even next year, but all that I can say is that people with zero marketing experience are getting started doing it right now. So you can only imagine where things are going to be, a year from now, 18 months from now. And so the reason that this is really important to crystallize and like take in, if you know anybody who's starting print on demand and they're considering like Etsy or a marketplace compared to Shopify, is like, just imagine on these marketplaces, you are competing based off of the quality and the uniqueness of your designs. Now imagine that people have everybody and their sister has the ability to launch just as many, if not 100 times as many high quality designs as you. The market becomes flooded, supply surpasses demand, and the opportunity goes away, essentially. Opposed to on our own site, we're not competing with anybody. We are just competing with ourselves, and we are competing with cat videos in the Facebook feed. And the good news is that by starting down this path now, this is by far the best thing that we can be doing to protect ourselves in the future and make sure that we are future-proofing our business. By the biggest macro decision we can make is about if we go the route of a marketplace or if we go the route of like a standalone brand. And in my opinion, and this is what like our team is doing, yeah, there's a good final doomer thought to part with on that topic. What our team is doing is we are building brands. So first and foremost, we are investing in building brands. We are building businesses where the customer is buying from us because of who we are over time and not just because they like the design or because we're the cheapest price. Next, we're trying to incorporate AI into everything we do just so that we have fluency with it, so that we are familiar with the tools. Not saying that we force a square peg into a round hole, or we try to over AI everything and end up shooting ourselves in the foot, or just complicating processes that were working fine to begin with, but lightly experimenting with ways that we're able to introduce it. And next, we're trying to stay grounded in what makes our brand truly valuable, not only today, but 5-10 years into the future. And in a world where every human skill that we've introduced into the brand essentially becomes commoditized, what does that look like? And what is the proprietary asset that we can build up? And that really comes down to your brand, your goodwill, people buying from you because of who you are and what you stand for, not just what you sell. And we're also not investing heavily into new tools or services that are going to become commoditized by AI in the next 6 to 12 months. So this is investing in agencies or just really expensive services, or like there's a Facebook catalog enrichment tool that we've been considering, where it basically takes your whole product feed and then like adds overlays and stuff like that on top of it. Really cool, super expensive. We were heavily considering it until reading more into what Meta's plans are for AI. And so this is the kind of project that if we already know, like just by sitting back and doing nothing, time and money back into these things. And so all that said and done, I firmly believe like where the industry is going, based off of like even looking back a year ago, like AI designs you were able to create, they were pretty good, but they weren't always that sellable. Fast forward to today, they're extremely sellable, extremely high quality, and they're just getting better and better by the day. And then fast forward a year from now, the same trend is just going to continue. So then the real question is, what are going to be the lagging impacts of those updates and those changes? And I'm a firm believer that every market, every niche just about is going to become disrupted. But for print on demand in particular, building a physical products brand is what it really is. That the place we don't want to be is on marketplaces, at least for us. Now, it's not to say there isn't an opportunity there. And it's also not to say that brands won't be impacted as well. This is in no way me saying that like, if you build a standalone brand, you're going to be golden. Don't worry about it. But like everyone is in for an awakening. But I really believe that essentially being the owner of all the assets, your customer data and everything else, that when you have that, you're in a much better positioning to, weather whatever it is that comes down the pike towards us. So anyways, with all that being said, thank you for watching. And if you want to learn more about how to build a brand, it really does not have to be that daunting of a task. Within WeScale University, if you are currently an Etsy seller, we are building a course that is designed specifically for you to go from having your Etsy shop to a standalone brand that you fully own. You own all the customers, you own the asset, you can sell it someday if you want. We also have a 31 plus hour course that explains literally everything from top to bottom. And it's all based off of not only our experience of doing it for 10 plus years, but also everybody inside of WeScale as well. So feel free to click the link down below to learn more about that. But other than that, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon.